The Georgia Bulldogs extend their 9-game winning streak to 10 games at Arkansas's expense as the Razorbacks fall to the Georgia Bulldogs by a score of 76-66. This is Arkansas basketball recap. I'm Dana Price. That's Jacob Price. This one, um, I guess, to say something positive, it looked like for a minute there that they could have just let go of the rope and had a repeat of the Auburn game where it just looked like they gave up. They just quit. That didn't happen. There was an opportunity to do that, and that didn't happen, or at least Tremont Mark didn't let that happen. But yeah, at the end of the day, the Arkansas Razorbacks fall short. And if you look at the stats of this game, a lot of the things are very even. Arkansas shoots 40% from the field. Georgia shot 41%. Uh, you know, Georgia shoots 22 free throws. Arkansas shoots 22 free throws. Uh, Arkansas gets 39 rebounds. They get 40 rebounds. They have 13 assists. We have 11 assists. We have 6 steals. They have 7 steals. We have 7 blocks. They have 6 blocks. We turn the ball over 15 times. They turn the ball over 13 times. I mean, we commit 22 fouls. They commit 21 fouls. I mean, you're like, that's pretty even all the way across the board. I mean, the real difference is that when you get to the 3-point shooting, Arkansas goes 3 of 21, shooting 14.3%. They go 9 of 27, shooting 33.3%. And at the foul line, they made 17 of 22, where we made 15 of 22. And that's the ball game. That's the difference in the game. It was shot making. Now, I mean, Arkansas, there's stuff to say about Arkansas's defense and stuff, but at the end of the game, or end of the day, sorry, if you want to know what the difference in this game was, is they made some shots and we didn't make some shots. And a lot of that had to do with Arkansas struggles for some reason to get clean looks. And it was better in the second half for sure. The first half, there were no there's just like no clean looks. I mean, like the shots that we were taking are just, I mean, you're going to lose taking those shots. And in the second half, besides Tremont Mark just saying like, "Get on my back, boys." Like, I'm tired. I don't really want to go out like this. There's that, and that did open up the ball being in Tremont Mark's hands. Maybe that needs to happen more, probably, because I mean, Menefield didn't continue his run in this game. I still think he's going to play a part going forward, but uh, I think the ball has to be in Menefield or Mark's hands most of the time to initiate the offense. And it seemed like it's kind of weird, Jake. I'm interested to know what you think about this and your thoughts on the game, of course. But it's the second half when he just sort of Mark was just playing point guard. He just had Mark with the ball in his hands. It was like I had forgotten that he had done that before. I'm like, oh yeah, something like that. I forgot about that. Like all this like searching for a point guard and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, like that. Sometimes that is the best thing.
Yeah, well, I'll just start off by addressing my uh, environment. I'm in Pennsylvania in a hotel room, and it's like midnight here because the game just ended. But I'm on the East Coast, and I brought a little microphone, but I couldn't figure out how to get it to work, and so I'm just literally on my phone and on my phone's microphone, and I have to talk quiet. So sorry, my apologies. But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say that game was discouraging and not really. It was discouraging in that I didn't see any solutions necessarily. Like I mean, Trayvon Mark getting hot and just having his own little streak that once in a while gets you within 5 or 6 points when the other team, sort of slows down a little bit to close it out. It's just not That's not a solution long term. You know what I mean? There was nothing in that game where you're like, oh, we can build on that. It's like still looked like a mess at times, and then you have brilliant athletes, and good ball players have very brief flashes of brilliance, and then like 60% of it looks like it's a mess on both defense and offense. You know what I mean? So it's like not a mess. That's probably too strong. But it's just it's mediocrity, like 50 to 60% of the time, punctuated by moments of pretty good and brief moments of really good. And I'm afraid that's what we are. I'm afraid we are a mediocre team with some really good pieces that just don't happen to work with each other. You know what I mean? And
To me, what it seems like, I'll say this first: Georgia is a pretty good team. I mean, their record would say they're a pretty good team. They haven't played the kind of schedule that Arkansas has. I mean, if you go look at Georgia's schedule, it's not the same as what Arkansas has played. But still, they're a good team. They're a borderline tournament team, probably, is what they are. Is it an absolute disaster to lose to, a 12-3 Georgia team on the road? Not necessarily. Like, I mean, like that's not necessarily a horrible thing. Um, no, they're much improved from last year for sure. I mean, that's a good team. The problem is, and you're like, hey, we were in that game kind of and stuff, and the issue is that like that our pieces, and I was starting to put this together. It's like those guys just haven't figured out how to play together, and that's on the offense. And sometimes it's like, well, yeah, on offense, it's obvious where you're just like you watch Georgia move the ball, and then you watch us move the ball, and you're like, we don't have each other figured out the way that they have each other figured out clearly. But one thing that is not as obvious, but if you play basketball, that is the same on the defensive end. Like when you don't have each other figured out, like the defense struggles. And I think you saw both of those things. And yet, because of the types of athletes that Arkansas has, and because Tremont Mark really, really played well in the second half, Arkansas, got this game down to 3. And but you still then had these moments where you're like, this particular roster, I don't like, there's things that happen that you're like, dude, you're not going to win a game on the road against a good potential tournament team in Georgia if Battle's gonna pull up and try to like lean into a 29-foot 3-pointer when Mark has just like done everything he can possibly do to drag you back in this game. And then that's the shot you take with 22 seconds left on the shot clock. And then if you go
yeah,
get the ball back again, and my guy, Makai Mitchell, is going to get the ball 15 feet from the basket and travel, you can't win. You can't
mhm.
win if you're going to do that. Like, I look, I know shooter's going to shoot Battle. That's a horrific decision. I have no idea what you're doing
Well,
when you
and
do that.
you've got to earn that shot too. Like, I mean, Battle, sure, he's capable of making that shot when you're on some kind of a heat check run, but you've been not playing well for the
Yeah.
last couple of games, and not particularly well in this game. And to pull up that shot, like you have to earn that shot with a few. I mean, with the exception of Steph Curry, you need to make a few before you pull that one up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It just at that. I mean, this isn't 10 minutes into the first half, dude. It is time to take this is the time where you take the right shot. And I just don't know. I don't know what you're doing. So that was frustrating. Um, I will say this, that like, if this team is going to pull it together, at all, and if they're gonna figure it out, I do think Tremont Mark's gonna have to. I know we were talking about that. Who's gonna be the guy? I do think he has to be the guy.
mhm.
I think that's it. I think Tremont Mark has to be Arkansas's best player if they're gonna do anything. And I think, he's just gonna what he did tonight. He's just gonna have to decide that he's gonna have to do things like that to put pressure on the defense, and then you can get other guys involved. Um, Another positive thing is I want to see Davenport on the floor more.
Yeah.
And this is going to be subtle. I mean, like he made some shots and everything like that. I like his body language. I like his energy. And what I like about it is that if you see one of our guys on the like land on the floor, the first person sprinting from way over there to go help them up is Davenport.
Hmm.
The Davenport's the guy that's slapping other guys' hands when they do well. Like the ego doesn't seem that like it's there, and I think we do have like some ego problems. And Davenport seems to be able to clap for other people, which I like. And I also think that Davenport is trying to do things that don't necessarily, it doesn't look like are natural for him. Like there's guys that are more athletic. There's guys that should be better at the things that he's trying to do than he is. They have more of the tools, but the effort is there. Like he is trying to be what Muss needs. You know,
Hmm.
he is doing the effort stuff, and I like to see that kind of thing rewarded. And so I thought we were better with him on the floor. And I've thought that for a couple games where even when he's not scoring a bunch or anything, and also he is a perimeter threat. But I just think that he's a team player that's out there, and I like it when he's on the floor. And I liked him on the floor tonight.
No, I mean, I do think that's addressing something that I don't know. We're not like obviously we don't have any inside access or knowledge of what the locker room is like based on, or compared to other years or last year. But these guys don't seem to, from just the 1,000 foot view, they don't seem like they get along better than some team, than teams of the past. They don't tend to over enthusiastically dap each other up. And now part of that might just be there just hasn't been that much to
Yeah,
celebrate.
you're losing.
But um, it does, I mean, it does seem like some of the tension, the natural tension that you would expect to be there between guys that are competing for minutes and are kind of all, in a rut right now and basically like they're gripping and, um, but they do seem to be, I don't know, there seems to be a pall upon the team. And I mean, yeah, the way the game started, dude, I mean, it started just like the Auburn game finished. It was so ugly. And honestly, that was not a good indicator. The fact that they came out and played that flat, and honestly, that really was the difference in the game.
Yeah, it
Like
was.
we fell behind by 10 and we never really got back in the lead,
Yeah, we
you know.
played even or above even the rest of the way in the second half. Yeah. I mean, do you have that feeling about Davenport though? Do you like him on the floor?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I just am not sure. Like, because even Mark, like, I don't think Mark's not really a playmaker for other guys, and I don't know how. Even if he decides he's not the kind of player where if he just becomes so he's gonna. I mean, he could inspire other guys. To by example, obviously everyone can do that. When you see someone play with grit and tenacity and passion, it is inspiring. It makes you want to play hard. And I think that's the best you could hope for because his best game is putting his head down and either taking it all the way to the rack or pulling up and hitting that mid range. But he hasn't really shown an ability to pass or to get other people involved. Now, he could, like I said, he'll get doubled if he keeps playing well, and then maybe he'll just be able to kick it out early. But I'm saying he doesn't seem like he's an overly talented passer. Not that he's selfish or anything. It's just that's not necessarily who he is or not his best aspect. He's more of a one on one, take the ball and put it in. And we don't mean, I don't know. I guess,
I like him doing that more than I like anyone else doing that.
oh, yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely more consistent. Um, but I don't know, dude. I'd like to know if Muss ever says anything about what this locker room is like or if he notices. Because, like, even Devo still seems like something's not quite right. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's not playing with. I mean, you remember a couple of, was it last year or the year before where he had some family issues or something
Yeah.
and he missed a game? I mean, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm just saying he doesn't seem happy out there. And I mean, obviously they're losing, so why would you? But I'm just saying he's not playing with any joy. And I hope everything's okay with him personally, but he definitely doesn't seem like he's the emotional leader that I was hoping he would be this year, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else to say about this game. I'm trying to, I mean, as you're trying, I mean, you got to keep playing. I mean, you got a lot more games, and you got to try to figure out how to win as many of them as possible. And so, me bringing up Davenport is kind of like that. It's like, well, what are you going to do going forward? You got to keep trying to get better. You got to keep trying to put something good out there. You can't throw the towel in 2 games into conference, schedule. To me, I to me the 2 guys that I thought tonight, if I was Muss and I was evaluating the game and saying uh who is doing the stuff that I'm liking to see and is going to, as I figure out this rotation and figure out like who's going to play more, uh to me it was it was Mark and Davenport. Like I thought those were the 2 guys that did the stuff that I was like, well, keep them out there. Like I like those things. I mean, I don't know if it's an answer to anything, but you're like, I like the energy. I like the effort. I like the will to win, all that stuff. I mean, because Mark did look like, because he did, dude, it wasn't just like him taking the ball to the basket. He had that weak side help strip on their big guy, which is just a total effort play. He had that at point guard trying to dance him up where he just ripped the ball out of his hands. Like you could tell Mark was like, don't want to lose this game.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I mean, he's definitely been the most consistent player on both sides of the ball. And I mean, that is one of our problems is we've got too many guys that are too inconsistent.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I mean, I know in college there's a lot of guys that are inconsistent, but you need like a solid three that it's not that they all have to get off and get you 20 points. It's that when you have guys like who's the guy that plays for the Celtics, the ball dude that's like 40, uh
oh, Al Horford.
Al Horford. Like Al Horford, like he may have a game where it's not flashy, but he's never hurts you.
Yeah.
He never is going to, he's never gonna like have terrible turnovers or walk at the end of the game. Like he's just guys that don't make mistakes. And we have too many guys that like have a lot of talent, but they make a lot of mistakes. They
Mm,
all the time, you know what I mean? Like consistently they make mistakes. I mean, and that's Graham, uh, you know, um, even Mitchell tonight, obviously, Ellis and Battle. And I mean, really, all the way down the line, Brazil, these guys make a lot of mistakes.
yeah.
And we don't, I mean, and a lot of it is discipline stuff. You know what I mean? It's like I said, traveling or stepping out of bounds, or like, I mean, don't get me started on defense. I mean, they're all over the place. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. The scramble on defense is like very, I mean, it's good. If some of these guys weren't such good athletes, like good lord, like because like we're out of position on defense just all the time, like and it's still bad. But if they weren't like all long and crazy athletes, it would be just horrific.
yeah. And, I noticed this too. And I think this is, I mean, that may be some good news is I think it is fixable because I mean, it seems like it's partially, like a, it's something that's partially an attitude thing or a snake bit thing, but also making mistakes. But they pass. The reason we take such bad shots, like a lot of low percent shots. If you look at the way we pass the ball, we pass the ball like a guy that will swing the ball and then the guy will catch it and he won't have a great look, but he'll pass it to someone who's completely guarded for like
Well, dude,
all the time.
we do this thing where we pass the ball to someone and he like kind of sizes up his guy and then like nah and then passes and you're like, well, there's 3 seconds off the shot clock. I'm not exactly sure what you're doing there. And then the next guy does the same thing. And that's what I mean by like the continuity of the team. And then you watch like other teams and they're like zipping the ball. Like keep that ball moving, dude. Keep it moving. Why do each one of you guys got to figure out if you're gonna like take that guy off the dribble? And most of the time, I'm like, hey, Brazil, why are you doing that? Because I have not seen you taking anybody off the dribble. Like,
Well, and
so like once you catch it, if the shot's not there, make that pass again. Make that defense move. Don't just make that guy just swivel on his hips while he's trying to figure out if you're going to put the ball on the deck or not. That's not good offense.
yeah, and they also they seem like no one seems like they're desperate to attack at any game,
Mhm.
like very rarely, you know what I mean? And so like the difference you can tell, like when Georgia, like so they catch the ball and they're like moving towards the ball. So they like gobble it up and they're on the move. And then when they catch it and you're on the move, you have that momentum to either like jab step and then come back. And like they're just, they're in motion. Whereas all of our guys are like catching it and you can, it just feels like they're like, can somebody else do it, please? You know what I mean? Like,
Or they're
and just swing it.
or they're just playing am I sweeter than the guy that's guarding me ball, which is like, can I take you to the cup, score on you, and then tell you that you're too small or flex or whatever. You I mean, I know we brought that kind of stuff up, but I can't see it, dude. I can't see any of that until you start winning games.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, dude. I don't know what they're gonna do because
The thing that you hate that happened tonight, and that is we're on the road trip. We're at Georgia, and then on Saturday we get to go to Florida. And I know you hate it when Florida, who's been playing really well and dang near beat Kentucky, just got smoked by Old Miss. I mean,
yeah,
beat down by Old Miss tonight. I know you hate that when you have to go into another team's gym when they just got beat down, but that's what it is.
well, I mean, yeah, those are, I mean, I don't know what's Florida's overall record.
Better than ours.
I mean, because I mean, we are in dire straits here, but
Yeah, we need a win pretty badly. I mean, so in the SEC tonight, you had Mississippi State shocking Tennessee and beating them. So that's life in the SEC, as we know. Ole Miss beats Florida 103 to 85. What in the world? I don't know what's happening there. Florida is now 10-5. So Arkansas is 9-6. So just there you go. And yeah, and then also in the SEC, of course, Georgia beats Arkansas. And yeah, dude, I mean, it's you kind of you need that game. I mean, you're 0-2 in the SEC now. Like you got to get that game. I mean, I guess the nice thing is that your next two are at home. You got Texas A&M, who is good, coming in to Bud Walton, and then you got South Carolina coming into Bud Walton. And then you have to go at Ole Miss. Then you have to have Kentucky coming. I mean, it's not. I mean, you just got to start figuring out ways to win. Like it does. None of these are easy.
mhm. No, I mean, I guess to leave on a positive note, I mean, ultimately, yeah, you still got to play the games because the good thing is there's plenty of talent on this team. It appears to me, and if I had to bet my house on it, that this talent, for some reason, is one of those group of guys that, for whatever reason, their chemistry, their talents, their skills, their particular mindsets do not make a successful team. And if I had to bet my house on it, I'd say they're not going to become a great team. And I think, like, I still think it looks like we're just going to be a middle of the road team this year.
And
But
NIT, here we come.
yeah, I mean, maybe, I mean, but the thing is, you never, like I said, maybe they'll figure something out. There's plenty of talent here. They could, and they could snap out of it. And there's no reason. I mean, you could make the tournament with 19 wins, and then who knows, or even just play terrible all year and win the SEC tournament and be one of those loser teams that blows it for some other team in a smaller conference that has 25 wins. And so
Well, we'll see. Here's hoping. Tonight was a big game. Every game going forward is a huge game until we put some wins together. So, like the way it is right now, tonight was a huge game. Saturday is an even bigger game because we lost tonight. I mean, you got to get an SEC win. It needs to happen probably on Saturday. We need to get a win.
all right. Sorry guys. I'm exhausted. I've been on this work trip. Sorry, this is such a probably no one can hear me, but and I'm pretty tired because it's
I
like
Yeah. Well,
1 in the morning.
I just had a cat underneath this curtain just run out and be a maniac. So she's a black cat. She's like a spooky cat, you know. So she like sleeps all day and then just like runs all over the house at night like a maniac. But anyway, all right, man. Well,
All
go
right,
to
man.
sleep. We'll be back on Saturday.
All right. See you guys.